Before we
Josh.
close, I want to say something as we conclude our Atlantic Council programming for this week. This has been a dark and difficult week, following a dark and difficult year. Terror attacks in Israel, war in Gaza, following war in Europe. More conflict across a range of countries and regions than the world has seen in decades. And I'd like to remind everyone watching and has watched throughout this week that the IMF and the World Bank, the entire Bretton Woods system, were founded not after war, but during war in 1944. We often say they were founded in the ashes of war, but that's not true. They were founded in the fire of war, around the time of D-Day. There was a realization at that moment, even as soldiers were fighting across Europe and Asia, that cooperation on a monetary system and development assistance, if done well, could lead to more economic prosperity and therefore lead to more peace. And the amazing thing is that while imperfect and suffering many failures, that system actually by and large worked. And it created a relative, emphasis on relative, period of peace over the last 75 years since the creation of these institutions. And we can look around the world today and say that is no longer the case. So if there was ever a moment for these institutions to work once again and realize their full potential, to be reformed, to be revitalized, to be re-energized, it is now. It is the same impetus, the same energy of when these institutions were created. And we, as an organization, as a council, as a think tank, but as a community that cares about these issues, have to reinvest our efforts to do it, because the alternative is fracturing, fragmentation, conflict, poverty, and war. But if the work is done well, it can lead to a better outcome, and we've seen that proven true in the post-World War II era. And that's why we will continue to make the Bretton Woods 2.0 project not just a priority, but core to the work of the Atlantic Council.